Hey everyone, I am Natalie Dolan. I am a Sapphire brand ambassador. And I am so excited to share with you guys tonight on the subject of what I called it, what jewels do differently on the graphic. But what I should have called it was what people who become jewels do differently, because I really wanted to approach it from that, not when you're already a jewel, this is what you do. The people who become jewels do these things. And I have a little bit about me is I have been doing Plexus for 7 years now. I have been last month I hit my 7th anniversary with Plexus, and it has been quite the journey, a journey that I am eternally grateful for. I know for sure I would not be the woman and mother and friend that I am today um, if it wasn't for God bringing Plexus into my life. I can't even begin to describe to you guys what Plexus means to me, and just hitting that 7-year mark. I've been in kind of this valley season where I've been doing a lot of contemplating, a lot of thinking, just really evaluating and looking back over all of this time, and what I'm really passionate about, and these certain subjects that mean a lot to me, and so on and so forth. But I think when you're in those valley seasons, and you have that extra time to think and evaluate, that's where the fruit grows. So I do want to throw that in there, because we should not despise the valley seasons of our business. Our businesses are going to have a lot of ups and downs. Sometimes you're going to be on the mountain. I know that we just ended a really big month with some really with the iPads, and a lot of you are on the mountain. And so when you're up on the mountain, you can't live there. Okay, like you go up to the mountain and it's great and you're on your hot streak, but you can't live there. And so if you're in this for the long haul, and I want you to have a longevity mindset, a long game mindset, when you're on this for the long game, there's going to be the ups and downs. And when you're in the valley, that's where the fruit grows, and that's where you learn, and where you get the authority that you can speak out of. It's what makes you into who you need to become in order to get where you need to go. That's like my catchphrase. This is really, really, really a journey about becoming, and only the people who become jewels embrace the journey of becoming. Okay, so I'm going to start off on some practical things that people who become jewels do differently. And I'm going to it's going to get deeper and deeper as I go along. Okay, so I'm starting surface. Some of this is going to be more relatable for newer people. And as we go down, it's going to get into some heavier leadership stuff. I'm a little bit of a preacher. And I am definitely passionate, and Plexus is my passion. And I started doing this when I was 26 years old, and I'm now 32, and this has made me into who I am. So these are just some of the things that I hope this speaks to the right people. So have some pen and paper ready. So starting off practically, people who become jewels show their face earlier and more often. And so by showing your face, that's going live, that's getting on the Zoom, that's like Holly right here. She's in some of her early stages of her business, but she's showing up and she's showing her face. She has her camera on. She's smiling. She's adding value. And it's getting on your stories. It's vulnerably showing your face. People who become jewels do this early and often. They don't sit back and let the uncomfortability of it hold them back from taking action anyways. The earlier you show your face and you start speaking, the quicker you're going to amplify the like, know, trust factor. And people are gonna need to like you and know you and trust you if they're gonna buy from you or follow you in business. So that is like the hill that I will die on, is get on, my team knows all the time, get on your stories and show your face. That is something that I know for a fact will grow your business. Okay, so people who become jewels do this differently. They make themselves into a resource. They become a resource and not a commercial. They are recommending so many other things. They're saying, I just bought this cup. Oh my gosh, this cup is so cute. I love it. I drink more water. Here's a link to this cup. It's buy this journal. I love this journal. You know, it's becoming a resource. I'm reading this book. This book will help you. I just went on this vacation. Here's 10 things that you can do when you can go to this city. You are now a resource. You are not a Plexus only commercial spitting out ads. Okay, you will get yourself. What do people do with commercials? They skip past them. You will train people to automatically skip past you. Oh, it'll become an automatic reaction that they do if you are not a resource to their life beyond Plexus. People should be messaging you. What was the link to that thing that you were talking about? And it's not Plexus. What was that book that you talked about a couple months ago that wasn't, that's so important. And that simple shift will help you to become more successful. People who become jewels courageously demonstrate belief in their own success before it happens. This is vulnerable, but this is courage. It's demonstrating courage to say, I am doing this and I'm going to trust the process and I'm going to be successful and I'm going to go to the top. It is vulnerable to do that, but people see it as courage. And you have to demonstrate courage to be successful. Demonstrating courage is actually one of the 6 top high performance habits of the most successful people in the world. They demonstrate courage, and that's one way that you can do it. People aren't going to follow you if they don't know where you're going. People come to me and have come to me because I know where I'm going. And even before I was a jewel, this is me at gold. I was demonstrating this courageously. Okay. So I would challenge you. What that looks like is it's practically showing your face, showing up and saying, this is something that I'm doing. And this is something that I'm committing to, that I'm going to be successful in, because I'm going to trust the process. People who become jewels authentically share their real story and not just hint at it. And so there is a measure of storytelling that you have to develop over time through trial and error. You need to put a lot of effort into not just your Plexus posts. You need to put just as much effort into sharing your story, telling a story. And that is, again, that's being vulnerable. That's not like saying I'm going through X, Y, and Z. It's really getting in there and sharing the real story and not just hinting around at it. Because when you hint around at it, and sometimes you have to do that, sometimes it's not appropriate quite yet to tell the whole story or whatever. But really share with people who you are and what you're really going through or what you're really learning, and put effort into that. Otherwise, you're still positioning yourself to be a commercial that people are going to become in the habit of skipping past. Hold on, I have my notes here. People desperately need authenticity and will run away from anything that isn't authentic. If you are coming across as fake or whatever it is, people don't need that in life. There is enough fake, airbrushed everything out there, and what people are craving is authenticity. And so people who become jewels balance, this is my next point. They balance being professional, presenting themselves professionally, and presenting themselves more in an authentic, undone state. So what I see is sometimes people will show up like messy and all over the place and undone all the time, and that will work against you. And then sometimes people show up as professional 24/7, perfectly curated, and that's also not going to always work in your favor. Maybe it can, and there's always exceptions to this one. And this point that I'm making here is a little bit tricky, and I'm not trying to discourage anyone or come down on anyone. But I think that when it comes to social media, sometimes you got to show up after you just worked out and you're sweaty and you're whatever, you have something to share, sharing that part of you, but you also want to show that you take yourself seriously. And so if you went to a job and you went to a job interview, you would put yourself together, and you would be presentable. Like when you go to church, like it's important that you show up in a professional way that shows you take yourself seriously. And so a practical way that you can kind of demonstrate this is giving yourself a challenge of, if you are leaning more one way than the other, you give yourself a challenge that this week I'm going to maybe show up in a more authentic way. Maybe I'm going to show up after my workout without my makeup and hair done, and maybe I'm just a little bit more raw. Or maybe you're always doing that, you're going to set a goal to show up this week as, I'm going to get myself together, I'm going to be presentable, show people that I take myself seriously. And so I think it's important to balance that and to shoot for that. It's not about perfection. It's not about achieving this balance perfectly. There is no perfect balance. Perfect balance doesn't exist. But I think that's important. People who become jewels are resourceful and they take action. It is oftentimes people approach this business with a lack of resources. Like, I don't know, I don't have the skill set yet, or I don't know how to work Instagram yet, or I don't have the right network. I don't know enough people. It's a lack of resources. And they say, okay, like I just have, this lack of resources, but that's not what it is. It's, you have a lack of resourcefulness, because everything is figure outable. Okay. And so people who become jewels find their resources. They sit down and they figure it out. They find their answers. They don't wait for their upline to set up the event. They don't wait for the upline to send them a training. They go out and find the training. They go out and think, what can I do to really grow my business? And they create their own event. Maybe I don't have the resources in a big network. What am I going to do? I'm going to go out and I'm going to join a group. I'm going to do some research and find it. I'm going to go find my people. It is a internal resourcefulness that they take action on. And people who do that become jewels. Also they take action on their hunger, right? So if you want a better life, you're going to act on it. You're going to go find the course that you need. Maybe you don't know much about social media. You're going to Google how a course on social media, like, you're going to YouTube it. You're going to go find a podcast for it. You're going to do something with that hunger and not just sit around being hungry and hoping that someone brings you some food. Okay, people who become jewels know that health in all aspects is their superpower. And so by health, I mean physical health, mental health, spiritual health. People who become jewels prioritize health in all of these ways. And it's something that you'll see across the board. They prioritize health. And they're going to sit back and they're going to evaluate, in what areas am I not healthy? Do I need counseling? Y'all need counseling. I'm going to tell you that right now. You already do. Go sign up. Go invest in that. It's hard to find somebody who doesn't. So mentally healthy, spiritually healthy. Do I need more time? Do I need to wake up early and pray and get my heart right? Do I need to start prioritizing my health again? I've as many times in my business, I've not even just health wise, I've not prioritized my own fitness. I would say yes too much. I wouldn't have boundaries. I would say yes. I would push off my workout so I could do a call for somebody, and I started becoming resentful and I wasn't in my best state of mind. But then I was like, no, I have to prioritize my health in order for me to pour out. And guess what? When you prioritize your health in all of these areas, you will then attract people who are also healthy in all of these areas. And you're gonna need to be healthy in order to be successful. Health really is a superpower. And that's why thank God we're in the health industry, right? Like, we have the tools, we have the resources for physically, and then it's up to you to, prioritize working out or, moving your body in one way, and then the other areas of health. Because if you're not healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, man, you're just gonna need to prioritize that, because you're only going to get so far before you start holding yourself back and falling back into all your old patterns and all your old ways of thinking. You have to quite literally level yourself up. Okay. What I will say is, on the topic of health, don't let pride and a lack of self-examination keep you stuck. You know how many times I let my pride hold me back from even asking for feedback or asking for help? You know how many times I didn't want to look in the mirror and examine myself and what was really going on? But listen, if you humble yourself and you look in the mirror at where you need to go and what's really going on and how you can start walking in alignment with your calling, God is going to lift you up. God will exalt the humble, right? And oppose the proud. And so, yeah, that's my little 2 cents there. So don't let pride hold you back, because I've been there and I've done that. Okay. Just learn from me. People who become jewels don't stay stuck in a limited identity. So people, what a limited identity is being like, yeah, that's just the way I am. Or I'm just a spontaneous person. I could never do time blocking. Or yeah, I'm just not a morning person. Or yeah, I'm just not good with names. It's all of these things that we limit our own identity. And all of that is, first of all of it's figure outable. Yeah. Am I going to have a a default to wanting to be spontaneous and disorganized? Yeah. But I didn't say that's just who I am. I said, but I could grow in that area. It's a stuck mindset versus a limited mindset. And I'm telling you right now, you get to choose. You get to be the for years, I was not a morning person. And then I decided I have to become a morning person because I have to start my day off rooted and grounded, not in reactivity. So now I have to do all of my research and get resourceful and figure out how to turn myself into a morning person. And by golly, I did. And that was like a little miracle. And all of these things that were so ingrained in my identity, I uprooted and became a different kind of person. And so the way you see yourself is super, super important. So don't stay stuck in a limited identity. You can do anything that you put your mind to, whether it comes naturally, whether you're naturally a disciplined person and a high achiever, or whether you're somebody who has to work at it. Either way, you can do it. Okay. People who become jewels, they empower people and they don't micromanage or save people. One of the worst things we're getting more into like the leadership aspect. One of the worst things that you can do for people who join your team is micromanage them and rescue them every time they have an issue, every time they have a problem. What is more important? I'm not saying don't help your people, right? But what's most important is that you call out people's strengths. You encourage them, you see them, and you let them know where they're going, where you see them going. You pour belief into them that they can do this, that they are capable, that they are worthy, that they're point out when they're on the right path, that they're doing the dang thing. Because when we micromanage people and we save them, we disempower them from believing that they can figure it out themselves. We disempower them from taking leadership, and we ultimately develop employees instead of develop leaders. And we don't want a team full of employees. We want a team full of empowered leaders who are going to bring up more people and empower more people. That's beautiful. That right there is beautiful. And you see people develop into a greater version of themselves that is more confident and more just sure that they can handle obstacles that come their way. And you don't want to rob people of that. You don't want to rob people of that by micromanaging or saving them all the time. Okay. Empower people. People need that. People who become jewels see failure as a finding and not defeat. So we don't allow these failures that are inevitable to bring us into a victim mentality or into complaining and grumbling. Like we don't want to hit failures and then turn into the Israelites who are like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I just want to go back to the easiness of what I was doing before, which was whatever, we want failures to be a finding. Okay. And the only way forward is through failing. So the more you really, really, really have to embrace failing forward and saying, hey, wow, that didn't work out. What do I need to do to, fix that for next time? And remove all of the drama of I'm trash, like I'm not made out for this. We start assigning all of these really negative, dramatic meanings to our failure or us being stuck or whatever. And as you grow, you will learn, if you're going to become a jewel, you learn that you can't do that. You cannot, every failure can't be this big personal woe is me victim thing. It just kind of is what it is. And the more you fail, the closer you get to where you need to go. And listen, your failures turn into your authority. I have failed so dang much, and I am like the queen of learning things the hard way in this business. I always kind of look at myself in the mirror, and I just feel like God has given me the grace to go first so that other people who come along behind me don't have to do it the way that I did it. I guess I'm just a little bit stubborn or whatever, but these failures, every single one, it's a gift. Every single failure is a gift because it gives you something to go off of. It gives you your authority, because you'll have nothing to speak off of if you don't go through some stuff. I don't want to follow a leader who's never been through some stuff. Like, how are they even going to know how to lead the way? So every single one is a gift. Okay. And yes, and as soon as you can root out any victim mentality, that's a process. We all do it. I do it still. We all do the victim mentality thing. We really do. So I'm not beating up on y'all. We all still do it. It's just a matter of catching it. It's being, so I heard this quote a couple days ago, and it was being healthy. Health is not the absence of sickness or struggle. Health is the abundance of awareness. And so you don't have to have arrived, but you have to look at yourself in the mirror, become self-aware and self-examine. And that is a really healthy place to be. It's still having flaws, but knowing where you're going from here. Sorry, I saw something funny in the background. Anyways, all right. So people who become jewels demonstrate leadership by speaking out of their own authority, like I'm talking about, to their teams and their audience. So what are your values? So your authority is stuff that you've been through and that you've seen your way out of. Your authority is the things that you're the values you're solid in, the things you've overcome, the things you have really learned and really believed. And you have to, like right now, this is me speaking out of my authority because I've been doing this for 7 years. You know, I do have authority in this area because I've been there. And it's up to you. If you're going to become a jewel, you have to go out there and you have to share your authority. You have to share. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out. There are things that you're learning. One of the earliest things I learned that I started talking about was me overcoming the fear of man, because that was the first obstacle I had to conquer in this business because I was very concerned about that. Which leads me into my last point. People who become jewels aren't ruled by the approval of others. They don't need everyone's approval for everything they're going to do. In fact, you'll learn that you will not have everyone's approval. Not everybody is going to understand what you're doing and why. Sometimes the people closest to you, your parents, your spouse, they're not going to get it sometimes. And that's okay, because this is your calling and nobody gets it the way you're going to get it. Okay. And you cannot let, especially as you become a jewel, you are not going to please everyone. You're going to let people down. People are going to make up a story about you. You'll probably be the villain in somebody else's story sometimes. And if you're a people pleaser or you need everyone's approval, like I did, that's going to really, really hurt until you can learn to pull that root up. If you need everyone's approval, you're actually really insecure. And so you have to close that door to insecurity and just embrace and know your own heart. Know your inner circle of people whose opinions really do matter. It's a small handful, very small handful of people, right? And I'm not saying who cares what everyone thinks. Obviously, like, we're in the people business. We're in the relationship business. Relationships and people matter. Okay. we have to love people well. We get to love people well, right? So that's not what I'm saying, but walk forth in your calling without needing everyone to sign off on it first. Sometimes it's just between you and God, or you and you in the mirror, whatever. But yeah, people who become jewels don't live by the approval of others. So that is some of the things that I've really been mulling over in my valley season. And I hope that there was one nugget that you could take. I mean, just take whatever that one nugget is and write it down, put it on a sticky note where you can really get it into you. All of these points don't have to get into you, just what really stuck to your heart, and take action and move forward on that, because anyone can become a jewel. Anyone can do this if you're committed and you don't accept failure as a defeat, and you just keep on moving forward, knowing everything is figure outable. And I'm going to tell you one thing, the journey isn't easy, and getting there, and this whole process, it's not easy, but it is so worth it. And it has brought me and my family an insane amount of freedom, and it has made me into the woman I am today. And it's impacted my kids and my future generation, and it is so worth it if you don't give up. So that's what I've got for you guys. Thank y'all.